Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 7th August 2024. So let's get started with our discussion. So here I am taking Delhi edition. So in this Delhi edition, in this front page, there is one very important article from our examination point of view. So the title of this article says, Bangladesh Parliament dissolved, Yunus proposed as an interim leader. So what is this article is talking about? Tell me, first of all, the dimensions. What is this article talking about? India-Bangladesh relations, right? So where you will be studying this India-Bangladesh relations? From GS paper to international relations. So are we sharing directly boundary with Bangladesh? Yes, right? So it comes under India neighborhood relations. Okay. So here one important task you have to do is open your atlas and see which are the states of India sharing boundary with Bangladesh, and you have to note down which are the states sharing boundary. So even in your Indian geography also sir discussed this topic, right? So you have to know that. And now actually I want to tell the story. So listen the story first. So story here is, so this is India. So where Bangladesh is? Here we have. Okay, so here we have Bangladesh. So what happened was, do you know about 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War? Okay, before that what happened? Before 1971, what was the scenario? So here we have the present day Bangladesh. Okay, it is Bangladesh. So what happened before 1971? So it was called as East Pakistan. So when we got independence in year 1947, right? So before 1947, this area entirely called as British India. So when we got independence, so this part was called as West Pakistan. Why West? Because it is present west side of India, and this is called as East Pakistan. So East Pakistan want independence. So in 1971, the war was happened, and this war called as Bangladesh Liberation War. So after this Bangladesh Liberation War, independence of this East Pakistan it got, and from 1971 onwards, we are calling it as Bangladesh as a separate country. So what the story was, the people who involved in this Bangladesh Liberation War, they are supports of Aam Aadmi Party. It's not Aam Aadmi, Awami League Party. Okay. So because of that, whatever the government which formed after this Bangladesh got independence was, Bangladesh gave 30% of quota. Quota is also called as reservation for the people who participated in this Bangladesh Liberation War, and till then onwards it is going on. It is continuing. So now there are other reservation category. Reservation for women is there, reservation for disabled people, and reservation for other caste people, right? So overall, if 100% of jobs are there, means more than 56% are going for reservation categories. That means the general category people are getting just 44 to 45% of jobs only. So because of this, here now the students of Bangladesh, they are doing protest that we have to remove this 30% of quota. So what happened in 1971? So from that time onwards, the families who are involved in this war, they are getting benefited. So we don't want that quota. So finally, this case went to Supreme Court of Bangladesh, and Supreme Court of Bangladesh said that it is not 30%, we have to reduce to 5%. But who is the present Prime Minister? Sheikh Hasina belongs to this Awami League party itself. And what happened? So she didn't take any actions, and again the protest had been raised, and they want this Prime Minister to resign. And even the control of Bangladesh was out. So there was no peace, there was no law and order. And if you watch any news channel today also, you can see like this prime minister had been resigned. So the deadline which is given by army to prime minister to resign. So before 40 minutes itself, she resigned and she took a helicopter of military and she flew to India. And she is in airbase of Delhi. And after she entered into India and she is trying to get asylum from UK, and UK had been rejected providing asylum, and now she is asking for UAE and as well as Saudi Arabia asylum. So once she get permission and she will be leaving to this areas now. Okay, so why this prime minister wants to get asylum in other countries? Because she is not having proper protection and security in her own Bangladesh. So if you see why there is no security, because so if you see the house of this Sheikh Hasina has been looted, and even people are entering into each and every part of her house, and they are bringing the even the things like fans, sofa sets, and everything, whatever they want, they are getting up. But even police and as well as army, they are not even stopping them because the situation is entire out of control. And even one famous cricketer of Bangladesh, his house has also been attacked and that also set under fire. And even anyone who is from the government of this Awami League party, they are not having any security. So because of this, it is happening. And actually, do you heard this word called as golden era anywhere? So if you're talking about architecture of India, the golden era is called as Gupta period. So in the same way, if you see relationship between this Bangladesh and as well as India, so the Sheikh Hasina period. Sheikh Hasina period from last 15 years, we will be considering as golden era between India and Bangladesh, because from people to people contact, from border security, from transit, transshipment, if you see any area, we made lots and lots of advancements during this period of Sheikh Hasina. So now we have to know what are the challenges between India and Bangladesh. Okay, so now tell me what might be the challenges we are going to have. How terrorist? How terrorist? So we have 5 important challenges. I have to focus on this. So please make a note of these 5 challenges. So in notes, I'm not going to give this. So first challenge here is now interim government formed. So interim government formed under Army Major. So under Army Major now interim government formed. That is the thing which is given here. You can see his name is Yunus. Okay, Yunus. Yunus is one of the army major and he proposed interim government and he is the leader of that interim government now. So why this interim government is a challenge? Because we don't know exactly how this government will be ruling. So actually what are the policies there? It is unclear. So because of this, we have to move forward, like we have to be very fast so that we have to connect with that government, interim government, and we have to see our proposals and we have to ensure that whatever foreign policy we are already having, that should be go on smoothly. So this is one important challenge. And can you tell me other challenges? Okay. So actually, the one important mistake that we did in our foreign policy of Bangladesh is we entirely focused only on Sheikh Hasina. So even other opposition parties will be there, but we don't have any relation or any connection with the other foreign other parties in Bangladesh. So it is also one damn mistake because we don't know which government now come into party. So people are against Awami League. So other parties may come into rise in this Bangladesh. So whether we are going to have the smooth relation with that opposition party or not, we don't know. There is a big confusion now. So this is a second important question mark. And apart from this, the third one is regarding transit and transshipment. So if you see this image of Bangladesh, so here we will be having our northeastern part. So here we will be having a very, very thin area that we can use to connect with the mainland of India with Northeast. That means if you want to maintain proper relation with Northeast, we need to have help of this Bangladesh, right? So for proper transshipment and as well as transit, we need Bangladesh. So actually with earlier government of Sheikh Hasina, we had good agreements between India and Bangladesh. But now there is a question mark that that same policies will be going to run or not. Whether there will be any cancellation of this projects. So this is one more challenge now. And fourth challenge, can you say something? Yeah, trade we can try. That is not a major challenge because that may be the future. But ultimately now the challenge is Jammu and Pakistan factor. So actually, so in riots in this protest, so many news articles are saying that this Jamaat-e-Islami one terror group which is also involved there, and they are against this Aam Aadmi Party, and they are getting protection from Pakistan, or they are based on Pakistan. So again, there is a rise of terror activities in this Bangladesh. So whenever terror activities are increasing in Bangladesh, we are having border security issues because we are sharing direct border with Bangladesh. Yes, and next one is China factor. So wherever you write, you have to compulsory include this China for sure. Because if you're having like a small passage, China will come and enter into that. So here entire government is not there now. So it creating a big vacuum. So China wants to enter into that. So if China wants enter into that, if it is coming with more projects there means we can lose connection with Bangladesh. So these are the 5 important and major challenges that we are going to face between India and Bangladesh in the near future, within this 3 to 4 months of time. Okay, so our government, especially our External Affairs Ministry, need to work on this so that we have to ensure proper maintenance. So why we have to maintain? Again, you have to draw this diagram. So with which countries we are sharing boundary? Tell me fast. So here we have Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. Okay, here we have Afghanistan on map. Okay, now here we are also having Maldives. And here we have Sri Lanka. So if you see our neighboring countries, with which country we are having good relations? Only Bangladesh. Okay, somewhat Bhutan. But nowadays Bhutan is also moving towards China. It is also one cause of concern. So Pakistan is our enemy country, and Afghanistan only on map. We are not sharing direct boundary. So let us keep it aside. And China is our enemy country. And with Nepal also we are having issue of Kalapani, Lip Lake and Limpiadura. Okay, so keep it aside. And Myanmar is under military junta. And now with Maldives, government had been changed so that boycott Maldives movement had happened. So with which country we are having good relation? Only with Bangladesh. I will talk about that later. So with which country we are having good relations? Only with Bangladesh. If Bangladesh is also going out means we don't have proper neighbor. So that there will be increased security threats for our country. So we have to take urgent steps to maintain proper relationship with Bangladesh. Clear? Any doubt so far? Is everything clear? Sri Lanka, we are having fishermen issue. We are having LTT issue. It is also moving towards China. China influence will be very high in the Sri Lanka, and the Tamilian issue, everything will be there in Sri Lanka. That will be dealt by your international relations by Sandeep sir. Clear? Okay. Now here you can see one small article. Hasina looks UAE and Saudi for asylum. So here you have to know what is this asylum. Okay. So whenever you are getting any words here, you have to at least try to know what is that, what is the impact, and where it is written, everything. So there is a high chance of getting prelims question on this asylum. Okay, so let us see that in detail. So actually now Sheikh Hasina, she is ousted Prime Minister of Bangladesh. She fled Dhaka. That means she came out of Dhaka and she is now at Airbase of Delhi. And she requested for asylum in UK, but UK cancelled that. And now she applied for UAE and as well as Saudi Arabia. So an advantage she is having here is her family members are not living only in Bangladesh, but even in the different countries. So wherever her family members are there, so she is trying to get asylum there. Okay, so here, what can we understand here? So she is having a political turmoil in Bangladesh. So there is instability in Bangladesh political landscape. So that here, whoever the readers who are belonging to this Awami Party League, so they are facing lots and lots of issues. There is no proper security for them. And next one is, even if she is trying for asylum here, so UK asylum had been cancelled. That means we can understand that, so there are very strong immigrant policies in the countries. Okay, that is a one important keyword that you have to write in the mains answer. Immigrant policies are very strict. And next one is, if you see the regional dynamics, so she is now trying for UAE and as well as Saudi Arabia for asylum. That means, so she want to go towards even Middle East nations. And if you see these countries are Islamic, and Bangladesh is also Islamic country. So there she might be getting asylum. And next one here is family considerations. Actually, her family is not only present in Bangladesh, in also other areas, so that she can get asylum based on the family considerations, and that family will also give support for her in the time of crisis. And next one is, if you see the international relations impact, so because of this situation, so each and every country which is having relationship with Bangladesh, so they will be getting affected. So that thing you have to remember. Okay, that's it. So if you see the asylum seeker is someone who claims to be refugee, but whose claim have not been evaluated. So for example, if she is saying that I am refugee, I have threat from my country, also she will be not, that asylum seeker means nothing but at a short time they will be not evaluating whether it is correct or not, but they will be providing temporary shelter. That is called as asylum. And actually we are having United Nations Human Rights Commission for Refugees. So here, if you are writing about anything regarding refugees or asylum, you have to mention this organization. So you have to know some basics of this United Nations High Commission for Refugees also, so that you can get some basic statements regarding that in your prelims. And whenever you are writing in the conclusion of your answer of refugees or asylum seeker, you have to say that every country need to follow this commission recommendation, so that we can protect the rights, human rights of these refugees. Okay, so in that way you have to enrich answer. Clear? Okay, so this is the front page. Only that article is important, nothing is important apart from that. And in the city page, there is nothing much important. So have you gone to the pages? Yes, in the states page, I found one very important article. So here you can see the title. What is the title of this article? Read out. 18 miners rescued from Delhi jute bag factory. So what is this article talking about? Yes, child labor. So child labor, is it legal or illegal? Illegal. So tell me, which are the fundamental rights talking about this child labor? Okay, so it is talking about child labor. So in which subjects you will be studying about this? In GS paper 2 polity. In polity, where exactly? Yes, very good. Fundamental rights. So fundamental rights are there in which part of our constitution? So tell me now, which articles are talking about fundamental rights? Okay, 23 and 24, they are talking about right against exploitation. I am not asking that. So which articles entire fundamental rights talks about? 12 to 35. You have to remember this, right against exploitation. Okay. Now tell me, from other subjects point of view, from where you will be reading about this child labor? Okay, it will come easily from mouth. Okay, GS paper 1 and 2, society and social issues. Next. Next, come on, think. You can do it. Lower? Governance, okay. Governance. So governance where? So what are the laws? or what are the schemes of government which are protecting child from child labor? Next, can you tell me some laws that you know? Any idea at least? Or any schemes? Okay, let it be. Tell me other subjects. GS paper 3 economy. But how economy? So in economy we have WTO. What is this WTO? World Trade Organizations. So in World Trade Organizations, there will be rejection of Indian products in international markets. Why? Because child labor is going on. So if you see here in this article, you can see in jute bag factory, so this child labor is going on. So from that jute bag factory, if you are exporting the goods to other countries, so they can reject. They have the provision of rejecting of Indian products because there is child labor which is going on there. So in that cases, many times India lost the cases in WTO. Okay, that you will be learning economy. Okay, so from economy, from WTO point of view also it is very important. And now tell me in which areas you can focus other than this. In GS paper 4 ethics, there is a chance of getting case study. So if you are a police officer or commissioner, how will you address this problem of child labor? Next. Come on, think. You can do it. Huh? History how? So there is no provision of that anywhere. Just we will be reading about slavery there, but not child labor. Next. Okay, that's it. So from polity, from society, from governance, economy and ethics, we can read this topic. So now tell me here, what are the dimensions you have to see? So you have to see what is the definition of child labor. So whenever you are reading or writing any definition, that should be authenticated. So here, can you guess who will be giving definition of child labor which is authenticated? Which organization might be giving? Huh? WTO, not WTO. Next. You need to have this idea, right? Tell me. I am not telling something that is not required for UPSC. So whatever I teach, even the word I am saying, that will be important for UPSC. Next. Yes, International Child Protection Rights, and even we have ILO, International Labour Organization. So you have to write these two definitions, what they are saying about exactly what is child labor. And tell me other dimensions, what can you supposed to read? What are you supposed to know? What are the causes of this child labor? Yes. Now tell me at least 2 to 3 causes of child labor. Yes, poverty, very good. Next. Next, poverty. Okay, illegal. Okay, illegal. We know that child labor itself is illegal. How inflation? Uh, labor ante what is the meaning of labor? They will be working somewhere. Next, tell me the causes. Yes, lack of education, very good. Next. Next. Come on, come on. How inflation? Expand on that. Inflation, okay, but how? Yes, very good. Increase of population. Next. Tell me, Ganesh, Preetham. Uh, okay, for supporting of family. Next. Come on, you can think, you can do it. Okay, so think on this. So let us see this article in detail. So actually this article is saying that Delhi police rescued 18 minors who are between age of 11 to 17. So children means till the age of 18. So now they are 11 to 18. That means they comes in the category of child. So where in jute bag factory in Delhi. So the children, where they are from? Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Uttarakhand. That means can we connect even geography? So in geography, So in which states there is high rate of child labor? That means you have to collect the data of your own state. You are from Karnataka, some are from AP, some are from Telangana. You have to see the child labor statistics in your state and you have to make a note. Because whenever you are writing like child labor is exist in our country, everyone knows that. But how you are special, how you are substantiating your argument, you have to give the data of at least your state. Clear? So here from geography point of view, we can see like from where the child labor is very high. So this article is saying that UP, Bihar and Uttarakhand. Okay. Now even we are having the role of NGOs. So NGOs comes under part of your governance. So here you have to see the NGOs which are focusing on child labor. Okay, so from this thing also you need to be get updated. You have to be somewhat advanced compared to the other who are preparing. So if you prepare in this way, obviously you can clear in the first attempt. Okay, so you have to start thinking in multi-dimensional beyond the book. So when you write answers and when I'm giving like how you can substantiate this, so you have to focus on examples. Then what are the work I'm giving? So if you do that, then ultimately you will be having good chunk of examples, data, so that you can substantiate your answers easily. Okay, so here if you see the details of this article, it says that yes, the prevalence of child labor is happening. And here you have to see, especially it is talking about jute manufacturing. Apart from this jute, where in which kind of industries there is a rate of prevalence of child labor? Like whether there are any hazardous industries. So you know that in Tamil Nadu, Shivakasi region is very famous for fire cracker industries. So in that firecracker industries also child labor is prominent. So you have to see in which areas child labor is there. Yes, even begging is also some mafia in. Begging it is not only for their livelihood, even the begging is running by big mafias. So there are some details which are recently released about this burst of mafias of begging. And next one is, here you have to see, now NGOs help had been taken and even multiple stakeholders, police forces, law enforcement, government departments. So whenever you, the point here I want to make sure is, whenever you are writing ethics case study, you have to see like we have to collaborate with the different stakeholders so that we can address the problem from the root. Like we have to take the help of volunteers of local area, we have to take the help of NGOs or the police officers, law help. So you have to try to take the help from the basis. You should not think that I am IAS officer, I should not take the help of juniors. So whenever if you want to clear that problem from the root, you have to take all the help of stakeholders who are involved. So this point you need to write for sure in your case study so that examiner can understand that you are a very broad-minded person. So this person suits for this job. So you have to make them convinced that why you suit this examination. So that is also one task you have to present on your paper. Okay. And next one here is you have to see geographical patterns, like in which areas the miners are working in the industries, like Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Bihar. Like that you have to see. And next one is we have to focus on child welfare as well. Okay, so whenever we are rescuing them, after rescuing them, we have to provide proper rehabilitation, right? And we have to join them in some schools so that they will be getting education. And you should not say that, yes, I am police officer, I rescued these people, my work is done. It is not like. So you have to provide proper rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is also your responsibility. So we have to focus on rehabilitation, we have to give some support for these rescued minors, and we have to ensure that these people are getting proper security and as well as safety after once they had been rescued. Okay, next one is we have to spread awareness about this child labor and dangers of child labor. So what will be the impact of this child labor in the future on that family or on that state or on that entire country. So whenever you are not getting different dimensions to write your answer, you have to take individual level what is the impact. At the family level, at the society level, at the village level, at the state level, at the national level, international level. So if you write these also, you will be getting 5 to 6 dimensions in your essays. Okay, clear? So here whenever you are writing definition, I said you have to write authenticated, right? So please make note of this definition of child labor. So according to ILO, In introduction, you can write directly if you're getting a question of child labor. According to ILO, International Labour Organization, child labor includes any work that deprives child of their childhood and potential and dignity and physical or mental development. So if there is any threat to either their childhood or dignity or physical or mental development, it is called as a child labor, and this is the authenticated definition given by ILO. Clear? And what are the constitutional provisions? You know, Article 23 and 24, and Article 24 is talking about this child labor at least below age of 14 years. They should not work in factories or mines which are considered as hazardous industries. And if you see the data of prevalence of child labor in India, according to ILO again, highest number of child laborers, they are seen between age of 5 to 17 age in South Asia, and in rural areas 13.9% of children they are involved in child labor compared to urban areas. In urban areas, at least we are having some awareness so that we are sending the children to schools and they are getting proper education, but in the rural areas, because of poverty, because of hunger, because of lack of awareness, because of lack of education, they are not sending their children. And 70% of child laborers are in agriculture sector. So agriculture where it is prominent, either in rural or urban areas. Rural areas. So here we can also connect this point, yes or no? And next one is 20% of child labor in services, 10% in industries. You have to write this data also.
Rural peoples are moving to urban areas.
Yeah.
In that areas also.
Yes, you have to. Yes, you have to see that also. Yeah, you can mention. And next one is, according to census 2011, 10.1 million children and around 3.9% of total child population, they are working as marginal workers or main workers in some industries. So this is the data, and you have to maintain a separate book for data. Okay, at least data which is present in last 1 year current affairs you have to be sure of, so that whenever you're writing answers, you can get. And if you prepare 7 to 8 months of current affairs after your prelims, then that will be more than enough. That data is enough to write mains answers. So 80% of questions that will be coming from that current affairs only, from GS paper 2 and GS paper 3, and even in ethics also. Okay, now let us see like what are the reasons behind this child labor. So what are the reasons? The first one here is poverty and lack of social security. So whenever any family which is very much poor, if they are not getting proper social security, then they will be sending their children to works, not to the schools. And next one here is entry of MNCs, multinational corporations. So in this multinational corporations, if they are not following the proper rules and regulations, guidelines, then obviously they will be employing these childs as laborers. And this one is lack of quality universal education in India. So because of this lack of universal education, then what happens? There will be increasing of dropouts. So whenever there is dropouts means obviously they will be joining some work. And next one is, what are the laws which are present in India but they are ineffective? So because of this, there is child labor which is prevalent now. And next one is domestic workers phenomenon is increasing now, especially children, they are working as domestic laborers like cleaning of house or taking care of children, like that. Here child labor is also rampant in urban areas in that domestic worker sector, not in agriculture or not in industries. And because of rigid caste system, because of socio-economic conditions, so many people they'll think that so this caste people should not go for proper education. So that is also prevalent in our rigid caste society. And especially in some marginalized groups like scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and OBCs and Muslims also, yes, there is a rampant child labor. Okay, so if you want to write the causes, you can write all these causes, around 5 to 6 causes along with the relevant examples, and your work is done. Now can you write? Yes or no? Yes, right? Be confident. What happened?
Yes, sir.
So here you can have to see like what are the laws or what are the policies of our government which are controlling this child labor. So make a note of this. So first one is Child Labor Prohibition Regulation Act of 1986. And recently in 2016 we made amendment to this. It is focusing on preventing of child labor at least below 14 years of age. And next one is it also prohibiting adolescents from 14 to 18 years from hazardous industries like mining or blasting or any firecracker industries like that. And next one is we are having Child Labor Prohibition Regulation Amendment Rules of 2017. So it is giving direction to state authorities and district authorities to prevent child labor in the state level or district level or local level. And next one here is we have PENCIL. PENCIL is nothing but Platform for Effective Enforcement for No Child Labor Platform. So it is connecting central government with state government to control this child labor. And they are focusing on whenever the people they have been rescued means they have to need rehabilitation. So rehabilitation will be done by this PENCIL portal. Okay, now this PENCIL portal is relevant to our present article, right? Yes. So in this way you have to connect. And this one is we are having Factories Act of 1948, which is prohibiting employment of children under 14 years in factories. So for factories, Factories Act. And this one is we are having Right to Education. So it is ensuring the compulsory education for children below 14 years of age, compulsory and free education, and they are also providing free education, textbooks, uniforms, etc. And next one is ratification of ILO conventions. Okay, so whatever international conventions are there, if you are signing and if you are ratifying this, so government will be taking some essential steps to control that. Clear? So far any doubts? No. 24, only 24, 23 and 24 against right against exploitation, 23 talks about forced labor, human trafficking, 24 talks about child labor. Here you can see the question. Yesterday somebody asked that, ma'am, you are giving simple questions. Now answer this question. See this question. Consider the following statements regarding child labor in India. Child Labor Prohibition Regulation Act of 1986 prohibits employment of children below 14 years of age in hazardous occupations. Right to Education Act of 2009 mandates free and compulsory education for all children who are aged between 6 to 14 years. And National Child Labor Project Scheme aims to rehabilitate child laborers by providing them with education and vocational training. Which of the following are correct? So in this way you will be getting questions. You should be very much sure regarding whatever the acts which are present. Rohit, come and sit in the first chair. So have you understood how questions are coming in your UPSC? Is that clear? Now tell me which is the answer. Huh? A. What about the second one? Only 2. What about third one? So all these all these 3 are correct. Answer is 1, 2 and 3. Clear? Say this question. Can you answer this question? Mains question. Critically evaluate effectiveness of government schemes and initiatives which are aimed at eradicating child labor in India. Suggest measures to improve their implementation. Can you write the answer for this question? Are you confident? At least 5 points regarding effectiveness. Second one is you have to know the measures. That's it. Clear? So see this article. Center issues norm for organ transport in India. What is this organ transport? Again I forgot to search that movie name. So do you know about this organ transplantation, organ transport? So whether we need this organ transplant, why? Okay, at least tell me which organs in our body can be transplanted. Kidney, eyes, heart, next, liver, intestine, nails, hair. Tell me everything. So tell me exactly which organs can be transplanted. Heart, eyes, kidneys, liver, next. Don't you know the organs in your body? I will tell to Sinha sir. He will be explaining each and every body part. Organs in your body. Lungs, yeah, lung transplant. Next. Don't you watch movies? In which movie there is lung transplant? Recent movie. Hi Nana movie. Next. Next. I don't have time. I'm running out of time. Okay. So this article is saying that our Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare issued new guidelines for transportation of live human organs. So here effective transportation is very important. For example, if one person is in coma or is in a very dead situation, so even if we are providing treatment also, if he may not work, if he may not live, means that organs will be taken and the people who are in need, they will be transported, right? So if transportation is happening late, means what happens? It will be threat to these two peoples. So we need proper efficient transport system so that we can take this life-saving organs, so that we can ensure that we are reaching on time for the patient who wants them. So what are this new things here? So the new regulatory is saying that, so we have to focus on efficient organ system so that we can increase effectiveness of transplant operations. And next one, actually the one important point they said here is, so they want to increase logistics. They want to enhance the logistics, like we can use now airways and we can also use now metros, so that we can go for fast transportation of these organs. Huh? Waterways, it will be taking lot of time, because in India itself we don't have proper inland waterways. Okay? Yes, government gave the permission, but now here it is focusing on increasing of airport and as well as metro. So on this two things the guidelines were given here. So actually regarding this organ transport, we have a framework in 1994. So you have to know what are the provisions in that 1994 Act regarding transportation of organs. Okay. So see here which organs can be donated. We have veins, we have eyes, kidneys, heart, liver, lungs, skin, bones, intestine, pancreas. Okay, so all these organs can be donated. So actually if you see organ donation in India, so how many people they will be donate their organs? Why? Why there will be no proper donation of organs in India? Okay, actually the problem in India is they believe life after death. If they are donating now, in the next Janma they will not have that organs. So yeah, because of that there is no proper donation of organs in India. So actually only 80% of organ donation awareness is there. So everyone don't know proper awareness. They don't know, like, yes, even after their death they can give the life to other people. So they don't know first of all. And next one is that only 67% they understand that importance of donation of organs. And actually awareness is just 35%. And actually only out of these people also only 24%, even though they understand the importance of donation, even though they know about the awareness, so everything they know, but only 24% of people they will be coming forward to donate. Even though if they are coming forward, their family will be insisting them not to donate the organs. And next one here is, actually there is only 3% of people they will be donate organs in India. So you can see the fate of India. Okay, so if you see that act is called as thought rules. So you have to make a note of this. Yes, you can include. Yeah, you can. So here you can see the act which is related to the transplantation of human organs or organ donation or organ transport is thought. You have to write this: Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissues Act of 1994. And in 2014 we came up with the rules of this organ transplantation as well as organ donation and organ transport. So in this way you have to focus on what are the acts which are present, and you have to write them whenever you are writing answer of organ donation. Okay, is that become heavy? No, right? Are you enjoying? Huh? Okay, so this law which governs about transplantation of human organs and tissues in India, so even donation of organs after death is also covered in these rules. Okay, so here you have to focus on organ donors and recipients. What are the things which are given in this act? So this act which talks about different types of donations, like after death they can donate some organs like eyes, and even at the time during death also they can donate organs. So during which period, so which type of donations they can make is dealt with this article. Okay, so leaving donations from close relatives such as parents, siblings, children, spouse, grandparents, and grandchildren. For example, if anyone who is in need of kidney, either their mother or father or their siblings or their children, they will be donating. So who can donate the live donations and who can donate the dead organs? So all these can be dealt under these rules. And next one is donations from distant relatives and foreigners. So you know about this altruistic donations, that they will be coming voluntarily and they will be donating the organs. That is called as altruistic donations. So altruistic donations can be also dealt under this same law only in India. And next one is whenever there is donation is happening from unrelated person, okay, that will be also dealing with this. For example, through either friend or any other recipient or any other external committee to prevent illegal dealings like that. So actually, do you know this interesting thing which happened in Hyderabad, I think 4 to 5 years. So especially boys, be careful. Why? Because one girl will be coming and contacting you, she will be proposing love, everything, and after you got connected with her, so she will be asking to get some test, everything, and after once test is done, if you are perfect, then she will be taken to one place and they will be looting your organs. So this organ racketing is happening in Hyderabad. Actually, I read these articles, I think around 4 to 5 years ago. So boys, be careful with unknown girls. Okay, don't patch up. So it happened on real. So okay, so here, see this article, powering up to get $30 trillion economy point. So,
After the act, the act will come into force or framing the rules, the act will come?
no, after the act came into force, so they will be coming up with rules, like every state what they have to focus on. So see this article, powering up to get a 30 trillion economy point. So what is this article talking about? Any idea? Title, read the title. Growth of economy. Now tell me, how can we improve the growth of economy? Come on, think. Corruption? Decrease in? Okay, how? How? Why this inflation is happening? Because of agriculture input is decreasing, agriculture production is decreasing because of heat waves. Yeah, next, because of exports. It is not alone because of corruption, so we can't write that kind of extreme things in your answers. Huh? Okay, you should not talk that things. Okay, I know about you perfectly. So what this article is talking about, recently Human Development Report has been released. So take down. So World Bank released Human Development Report. So World Bank released Human Development Report. It is saying about many countries, they are in a risk of entering into middle income trap. Even India is also having a risk of entering into middle income trap. So the key word here is middle income trap. Let's talk about Human Development Report 2024. So it is just giving a warning signals to countries like middle income countries, they will be entering into middle income trap. So you can get a mains question if you are writing exam in 2025 on this middle income trap. So what are the effects, what are the causes, so what are the measures can be taken. So all these things that you need to know. So here this article is talking about Human Development Report which released by World Bank, which says that many middle income countries, they are entering into this middle income trap, so that they have to come up with the proper liberal economic policies, and as well as they have to prioritize the private sector to come out of this trap. Okay, so it is just a warning signal for India. So here this article is saying that we need sustainable growth. It is very crucial because now we are having very high expectations, like we need to get this $30 trillion. So is it possible? So tell me, what are the problems in our economy now? So what are the problems we are facing in our economy? Yes, unemployment. What is the rate? 9.2% of unemployment rate. Next.
Even there is a very land
Okay. Okay, so that we can write. But what are the exact problems? Unemployment? Yes, decreasing of production, decreasing of exports. We have trade deficit. Next. Problems of economy. Yes, inflation. Next. Yes, decreasing of private investment. Problem in MSME sector. Next, there is less participation of women workforce. Next. Yes, there is decreased productivity. Next. So because of climate change also there is impact on economy, because agriculture sector is affecting badly, so that the contribution from agriculture sector to economy will be going to decrease. Next. Okay, implementation of laws, that will come under governance know-how in economy. Yes, rupee appreciation or depreciation? The value of decreasing of rupee. Decreasing. Okay, decreasing of value of rupee. Next. Come on, think. That's it. Yes, we are not using proper technology. And next one is we are increasing our crude oil imports. Okay, so that there is decreasing of forex reserves. And always there are problems with WTO. WTO is not much efficient as earlier. Next. I wrote crude oil. Next. I wrote no decrease in the value of rupee. Next, tell me what are the impacts? Come on, think. You can do it. So all these are the problems are there, but is that $30 trillion economy is possible for India with all these challenges? Practically. So that is the sign which is given in this article. So these are the problems we are facing. So here there is a chance of entering into middle income trap. So countries, they have to focus on proper practical economic policies, and we need to increase this investment. So whenever we are getting investment into our markets, then we can address this problem of unemployment, we can address this problem of increasing of our exports, and we can address this problem of trade deficit, and we can address this problem of inflation, we can address this problem of decreasing of value of currency. Okay, so we can get good technology. So mostly the problems are being cleared with this just one solution, that is increasing of private investment. And we can also attract foreign investment. So foreign investment, it may be FDI or FPI. Okay, so that is the thing we need to take care of. That is the thing which is given. Okay, so if you see what is this middle income trap, it is a situation in which middle income countries, they are experiencing systemic growth slowdown. Okay, so what is this middle income countries? Those are the countries whose annual GDP is $1,336 to $13,845 per capita income is called as middle income countries. So these countries, they are going to face the systemic economic slowdown. Okay, so that we need to take proper measures. So that is the thing which is given here. So just you have to understand what are the problems we are facing in our economy and what are the reasons for that, then you can easily understand this topic. Clear? Okay, so what are the key recommendations given by this report is, so these 4 points are very important. So these 4 points you can write as measures can be taken by each and every country to come out of this middle income trap. So first one, as I said, investment, infusion and innovation. So first we have to focus on investment. Okay, either it may be private investment from the domestic, like in our country itself private investment, And second one is we have to focus on foreign investment. And we have to focus on infusion of new technologies. Whenever we are getting new technology, automatically we can improve our production. Whenever production increased, employment increased. And next one is exports increased, trade deficit decreased, we can get forex reserves, everything will happen. And this one is we have to stimulate business dynamism. We have to deepen our markets, international markets. So how we can improve international markets? By FTAs. So we are going to have FTA with which country, which is in news? UK. Because in UK also new government had been formed, and we saw that between India and UK we are going to have new era of relations. And this one is we have to enhance social mobility, like we have to give the equal opportunities for women, because periodic labor force survey is saying that very less participation of women and even minorities and disadvantaged groups, people participation is very low. So we have to give the chance for these people to participate in our economy, and we have to remove the barriers for entrepreneurship for women. And this one is we have to increase our economic efficiency. That means we have to reflect economic environmental cost as well. That means whenever we are going for development, it will be having impact on environment. We are compromising on that. So we have to include those environment cost also. Okay. And next one here is one very important article. It is about counting poor having nutritional deficiency. So why there is nutritional deficiency? Whenever we are not taking balanced diet, we are getting this nutritional deficiency. Why? What are the reasons? Poverty, hunger, no proper livelihood. Next, you have to think what are the reasons for this nutritional deficiency. So recently one report by National Sample Survey Office. You know about NSSO, right? Everyone? So NSSO gave the report. It is called as Household Consumption Expenditure in India. And in that report, it is saying that yes, nutritional deficiency is happening in India at a very fast rate. And if you see 17.1% of nutritional deficiency in rural areas and 14% in urban population is happening. So here, what will be the impact of having less nutrition? So it will be having impact on our food security and on health. Whenever health is not there, they will be not doing work. So there will be reducing of productivity, everything which follows. And even we have to see what is the important reason. Reason here is poverty. So because of this, government need to address this policy making process. And even we have to take how much calories to be taken. We need to have a proper definition of what is the calorie requirement. And we have to see what are the state specific schemes or policies can be taken up. And we have to see who are the disparity people who are deprived. And one more important reason here is there is increasing of cost of food, and as well as cost of non-food products is also the important reason for this nutritional insecurity. Okay, I want to show two more articles which are very important in our today's news. So I covered editorial page, I covered states and also city page and front page till now. And in this news page there is one article. So I took one separate class on subcategorization of SCs. So here this article is saying that now BJP government is silent on this verdict. We don't know what is going to happen. Either it may create one more situation that is happening in Bangladesh. Okay, and next one here is in this. Yes, there are two articles here. It's not this. Yeah, here it is. So do you know about this sucralose? Amylase, aspartame, allitame, sucralose. So they are artificial sweetening agents. So actually this article is saying that we have to properly use this sucralose as a sugar substitute so that we can address this problem of diabetes. And next article here is dumping of plastic waste in rivers. Supreme Court raised concerns. So whenever we are dumping this plastic waste in rivers, what happens? Yes, take down the question. So what are the impacts of dumping of plastic waste in the rivers? So what are the impacts of dumping of plastic waste in the river? So once Supreme Court judgment is come, means we will be having a separate class on that. Okay, what is the impact? What is the impact of dumping plastic waste into rivers? Okay, so these are the very important articles that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much, and if you really like this class, hit the like button, and please do share this class to your friends, and do subscribe to Rathore Science Academy.